Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. This is 16 of the most satisfying moments in Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise as they appeared in order in show. So episode 1, we have Hiroto versus the Akadski and the Earth 3 armor reveal. In episode 1 we get to see Hiroto's skills as he uses anything to his advantage to win, showing quick wits and the ability to adapt fast to different situations he faces in the field. Later on, we get to see the Earth Armor's introduction, which surprises everybody around him as he proceeds to slice up one enemy in style before sniping the last enemy with a charged beam rifle, all while accompanied by some great background music. Episode 3, we have Hiroto's multikill and the Mars armor reveal. With the team attempting to defend an Eldoran village from an onslaught of enemies, and with the formation falling apart, Hiroto is overwhelmed and almost out of ammo, taking on 4 enemies at once, sniping the first 2, and then taking the final 2 on in melee combat. What we get to see is great situational awareness and observation skills as he stylishly kills the final 2 units, netting an awesome multi-kill. In a final effort to save the village, we're introduced to the Mars armor, complete with multiple bladed weapons all over its body as it forces the enemy away from the main area of the village using its sheer strength. With everyone looking on in awe, the final blow is delivered by its huge heat sword, cutting through the enemy like a knife through butter. Episode 4, Captain Xeon, Champion of GBN Justice. When Captain Xeon is introduced, championing good manners and justice in GBN, it's all a good laugh. But the best part about this sequence is when he splits the sky and calls forth an Axis drop with his giant beam saber. It's a mix of overwhelming destructive force and sheer ridiculousness. Episode 5, the Valkylander and Parr take flight. With Parr feeling like a burden to the team this entire time, and with the village under threat by new flying enemies, Parr realizes he needs to stop standing around and do something. Just as he starts taking action, he's knocked into a pool of lava. Refusing to give up and calling out to his Gunpla to give him help and give him the strength to fly again after what we see later on is an accident that makes him disabled and gives him a fear of flying. What we're treated to is his Gunpla heeding his cries as they both soar into the heavens, taking flight, taking out every enemy with speed and grace before showing its true power, its ability to transform into an SD that retains all of its flying ability, but can also use a sword and shield as its primary weapons, slicing through the last enemy and helping Parr overcome his fear of flying. Episode 7, Kazamis' first kill and the Celtem reveal. After struggling to realize he needs to change his ways, Kazami puts himself in an awkward situation where he's outnumbered by enemy mobile suits. What we see is him struggling so desperately to try and become like his hero, Captain Xeon, even as his suit falls apart around him from all the beating it's taken. And when it looks like he's going to fall, what we see is him rise up again to overcome the odds and net his first ever kill. It's an awesome and emotional moment for Kazami as he proceeds to fight weapon-wielding enemies with nothing but his bare fists before finally getting that kill that would change his entire character for the better. And then after this battle, we're introduced to one of the antagonist suits, the Celtem, a modified Gundam Mark III. With fear in his eyes, realizing how much of a threat it is, we see Hiroto attempt to solo it, with him and everyone eventually getting thrown around like rag dolls. After a beam cannon battle they can't win, they retreat, showing them that there is a bigger threat on Eldora that they need to prepare for in future, as the Celtem becomes to the team a looming menace, like a boogeyman, something they continuously worry about just because of how strong it's portrayed in this one episode. Episode 9 may beat some sense into Hiroto and teamwork triumphs. The underwater mission in this episode is going wrong, and Hiroto is knocked unconscious. His fault was trying to do everything by himself without relying on his teammates. When it looks like he's going to meet his end, May saves him and smacks some sense into him for not asking for help. The result is him realizing that he can rely on his teammates to help him out, and what we're treated to is an amazing sequence where they all work together properly for the first time to overcome the Manta enemy. Episode 10, L-Diver May versus Celtem. At the beginning of the episode, we're treated to May's L-Diver mobile suit form as she takes on the Celtem single-handedly, something that they've been struggling with before. May makes it look easy in a new form with her newfound ability and equipment, dancing around the battlefield with grace as she avoids attack after attack before getting the giant mobile suit and a hold at beam saber point, only for the enemy to run away eventually. Overall, it's a great action sequence. Episode 12, Chaos in Space, Everyone versus the Celtem and Alice. With the satellite cannon almost ready to fire, the build divers are drawn into a battle with Alice and the Celtem in space. It's a chaotic battle with everyone doing their own thing, and what unfolds is a spectacular sequence of events accompanied by great battle music again, as May struggles to stop the cannon. Parr fights off endless waves of enemies. Kazami attempts to take Alice out on his own, and Hiroto uses every trick he can to fight the Celtem in the Jupiter Gundam. Unfortunately, the plan didn't stop Seguri from being destroyed, but the struggle to stop it is still amazing to rewatch. Episode 18, Alice vs. Hiroto, The Battle of Ideals. Alice unveils his copy of the Earth 3 Gundam, taunting Hiroto for having a perfect combat style, ultimately only caring about himself and using any means, even sacrificing others to win. Hiroto refuses to accept this ideal, and that's who he has become. After continuously being haunted by memories of Eve, counter-sniping Alice with the Urivan armor, before going into a rage-fueled chase that shocks everybody else and leads to a 1v1 fight with Alice on top of a mountain, as Hiroto remembers more of Eve and realizes who he has become and is not what Eve would have wanted. What we're treated to do is Hiroto instead denying the ideals and sacrificing part of his own mobile suit to keep Alice locked in place before he's slammed into at full speed by the Urivan's long beam sniper, as Hiroto shoots him point blank in the face, completely destroying the copycat suit. Episode 22, Confusing Standoff, Build Divers versus Alice versus the Celtem. In this episode, the stakes are high, with the team trying to save Masaki Shido, the pilot of the Celtem, from dying thanks to Alice's system and brainwashing slowly killing him. What we're treated to is an emotional and fantastic battle, with Alice trying to recapture the Celtem attacking everybody, and the team fighting off everything trying to save Masaki. We're treated to a story of regrets that reveal more about Hiroto and his past with Eve, Masaki's feelings to what he's been made to do, and Kuadon for not taking action in the past that ultimately leads them on a different path, not repeating the same mistakes or making worse ones, and finishing off with a spectacular rescue that is one of the best sequences in the entire show, as Kazami reveals the Aegis Knight's King mode, and Hiroto uses the Saturn armor to violently rip off the corruption that's caused Masaki so much pain, in result saving his life. Episode 24, Build Divers versus Build Divers Lotus Challenge. The team need practice for the final battle, so they decide to do the Lotus Challenge. The catch is that they're going to be fighting the hardest enemies in all of GBN, including the original Build Divers. We're reintroduced to some old characters with a more comedic, upbeat tone to the story, as well as some of the best animation in the show and some side story characters for the sake of it, as they all struggle against everyone, including Ogre, Riku, the Champ, Tiger, Rommel, and Sharia, to name a few, filled with amazing action and teamwork as they slowly work out their plan, ultimately leading them to succeed after a huge grind. We also see Riku and Hiroto meet and have a heart-to-heart about Eve, linking the two series together and ultimately allowing Hiroto to get over one of the other stages of grief he's been dealing with, anger at Riku for what he thought was the cause of Eve's death. Episode 25, Let's Fly to the Stars, Flight of the Neptate Gundam, and Build Divers vs. Alice. In the final battle, we're introduced to the Neptate Gundam, a final suit Hiroto and Eve worked on, but never finished due to Eve's death. With Hiroto reluctant to finish it, as it means accepting that she's gone, the last stage of grief for anyone, he and the team use it to get into space. This scene represents one last farewell to Eve and a celebration of her peaceful life by helping them save Eldora, accompanied by one of the battle themes again. It might be disappointing to only see it on screen for a short amount of time, but it emulates life. It's fleeting, but it goes on like a blaze of beautiful glory as it soars high out of the planet's gravity well and into space, with its vulture Lumia roaring proudly as it helps the team when they needed it the most. And the final battle is here, Alice versus the team, with each of them using what they've learned in combat to defeat their foes effectively, covering for each other and defeating the 3 fake mobile suits, with Kuadon and Masaki backing them up as they blaze a path through Alice's defense line, showing us just how far the team has come from a bunch of nobodies and losers at the start of a show, made into heroes through their struggles and hardship, and combining all of their experience and feelings into one mobile suit in a climactic showdown with the satellite cannon again, completely overwhelming it with the Re-Rise Gundam and its large beam cannon. All to some amazing music, saving Eldora from Alice. So what do you guys think about the entire show so far? What were your favourite parts? Do you agree with any of these? If you do, I'll see you down in the comments section, and I'll see you on the next video. Till next time, bye!